Good evening. I call to order this regular meeting of the Verona Township Council. Today is Monday, December 4th at 7:00 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please read the Open Public Meetings Act compliance statement?
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied with respect to this meeting of the Township Council. The meeting time and date were included in the public meeting notice along with the public internet link and telephone call-in information. Said notice and agenda was posted in the municipal building and sent to the official newspapers of the township, the Verona City Times and the Star Ledger, at least 48 hours preceding the start time of this meeting. The agenda and handouts can be viewed online at veronanj.org/council meetings. The public comment period will be held in the order it's listed on the meeting agenda, and instructions on how to comment will be provided at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Holland? Here. Councilwoman McGrath?
Here.
Councilman Roman?
Here.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy?
Here.
Mayor Tamboro?
Here.
Mayor also present is Township Manager Joe DiArco, Township Attorney Brian Aloya, Deputy Township Manager Kevin O'Sullivan, and myself, Municipal Clerk Jennifer Few.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would everyone please stand? Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, a couple items on my mayor's report for today. First, I would like to thank the Verona Clergy Council for hosting a beautiful Thanksgiving service, and for everybody who joined. It was a very nice turnout. The service was very meaningful. I appreciate the opportunity to address the group as well. And a special thank you to the First and Only Presbyterian Church of Verona for hosting the event that evening at their facility and for the wonderful reception afterwards. I would also like to thank all the first responders on our police department, fire department, and rescue squad who worked on Thanksgiving Day. There are really no days off in those realms, and especially for volunteers who were available and answered several emergencies on that day. We had a fantastic fair in the square on Saturday. I had been going to this event for about 15 years, and I think it was probably the best one we've ever had. The weather was outstanding. I thank the township administration for ordering good weather. It turned out very well. And the Civic Center was packed. Everybody was excited. So thank you to all of the community organizations who were there, our vendors, Public Works Department, Police Department, Buildings and Grounds, our Public Information Officer, Lisa Northrup, coordinated the event and did a fantastic job, and for all of the emergency services, once again, who were there to provide coverage for the event. And a special thank you, of course, to Santa Claus for coming and lighting the tree. The Verona Environmental Commission will be meeting next week. The application for the Junior Commissioner Program is due this Friday. So if you know of anybody who's a high school student, a current freshman, sophomore, junior, who was interested in the environment and is looking for leadership opportunities, please check out the Verona Environmental Commission website for more information on that. It is really going to be an amazing. And that concludes my comments. We will be having a short planning board meeting also this. At this point, I'll invite Mr. Coltrane to come up from County Liaison to fill us in on the good news from Essex County.
Well, the first good news is the administration in Verona called me for the weather. And
That's for the Board of Health comment, right, Jay?
But some nice things. On the 7th of December, we're getting our bid back for the renovation of our tennis courts at Verona Park. So that's coming in the near future. Let's see. So I do have some good news. So that bid will be coming back this week.
Is that going to include?
Pardon?
Is that going to be lined for pickleball?
I do not know. I just put the bids out. I don't really look at the specs, but you never know.
That's curious. Thanks, Jeff.
So don't ask questions about the bids. That is my other hat. all questions are due 8 days before the opening, and the opening is December 7th. So there is no more questions to be asked.
Okay.
This Thursday, again, December 7th, Thursday, we are having a food distribution of 1,000 turkeys and 1,000 boxes of food at the Calvary Baptist Church at 66 South Grove Street in East Orange. Starts at 9 a.m., but I would recommend getting there a little bit earlier so you can get your turkey or your box of food. Let's go to Kip's Castle. This week, December 7th to the 10th, the castle is open from 12 to 4. If you're looking for additional information, the phone number is 973-433-7469. And the hours are from 12 to 4. It's also going to be open on December 14th and December 20th. And the address is 22 Crestmont Road, and that's in the Township of Verona. And lastly, our holiday lights. I think we had over 10,000 people come this past weekend just to view the lights. We encourage, it's free. We encourage, if you want to donate non-perishable food, a winter coat, or toys, which go to Toys for Tots. And it's open from December 8th to the 31st. We are closed Christmas Eve, which is December 24th and December 25th. But after that, we are open, each day, and we encourage everybody to come out. I went a few weeks ago. Simply gorgeous. If you've never been there, please do so. It's a very, very nice holiday event. That's my spiel for this evening, and any questions or comments?
Any questions, Mr. Chair?
Except for
But you'll get back to us as soon as you can on that, right?
I will when the bids come in after they get evaluated and we get it on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the final item, I would like to welcome the Verona Women's Club this evening to our meeting. As we saw beginning in our last meeting, I'm inviting one town organization per month to come and share their mission, what they do, how to join. And also, of course, we are recognizing the Women's Club for their annual phenomenal project, which is the Light Your Night. So if you would please come forward, and then we'll have questions and comments after. If you just introduce yourself for the record, and anybody here with you that you might recognize, we'd love to hear everybody.
Okay, I'm Connie Evans. I'm the co-president of the Verona Women's Club. We have with us Kathy Mortera, Special State Project, Linnea Mathers, Federation Secretary, Maddie Strauss, First Vice President, Mickey Lawrence, Second Vice President, and Pam Blake. Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. And I didn't see Roseanne Bornstein, our treasurer.
Roseanne snuck in a little, saw that. She's sneaky that way.
Okay, I would first like to thank the mayor and the council for inviting us here tonight to tell you a little bit about our club. The Women's Club of Verona was founded in 1893 as the Isabella Literary Club. The club was instrumental in founding the Verona Public Library. The Verona Women's Club is a charter member of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs and also a charter member of the General Federation of Women's Clubs. We are one of the few charter clubs left in the state of New Jersey. We sponsor the Verona Juniorette Club, which is a service club for middle and high school girls. And we also support and work with the Verona Junior Women's Club, which we initially sponsored in 1926. The Women's Club of Verona celebrates their 130th anniversary this year. Membership in our club is open to women of all ages who are interested in community service and forming new friendships. We meet 7 times a year at the community center, and we have several social events each year as well. Through our fundraising efforts, we are able to make allocations to many local organizations. We give to the Verona Rescue Squad, Fire Department, Library, Children's Fund, local food pantries, women's shelters, and we also provide community service scholarships to Verona High School seniors. Our major fundraiser each year is Share Your Light Night. Thousands of luminaries are lit in the Civic Center and throughout Verona, symbolizing neighborhood unity. We hold our townwide garage sale in the fall, and we have a trivia night in late winter. We have many smaller fundraisers throughout the year, and we have food drives to benefit the Holy Spirit Food Pantry. We also participate in different federation projects on the district, state, and national level. Our current special state project is the Emmanuel Cancer Foundation, which provides supportive care to children undergoing cancer treatments. Other federation causes we participate in are food drives and providing support to veterans. In April, we plant the Pinwheel Garden at the Community Center in commemoration of National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Although we work hard, we also try to find time for social events. We have international dinners several times a year, as well as craft sessions. And some of our members get together to crochet hats and blankets for newborns in area hospitals. I think most of our members would tell you that aside from the satisfaction we get from helping others, we have made some of the most meaningful friendships of our lives. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to tell you about the Women's Club of Verona, and thank you for the interest you have shown in our club. I have brochures here with all the information for anybody who would want to join. Would you like for me to leave these for you?
Sure, certainly, and I'm sure the council members would like one, and then we can leave downstairs. Community center as well.
You want me to?
Sure, I'll read it out. Give me my wife. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the rest of it, which is either.
Good to see you.
We'd like to head back to the lecturing con, just in case I need council. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to share, I was talking to Ms. Evans about this not too long ago, but on my street, we have one of the, I think, the most lit up streets on Share Your Light Night. And it really is beautiful to see. And every year, it's my tradition to walk down to the Civic Center with my dog to see the lights. And I think he also looks forward to it. But it's just absolutely stunning to see that. And it's such a great expression of community unity. So I'm glad that not only are you doing other wonderful things like donations and supporting food pantries, but you're also really bringing the community together and my neighborhood for sure on that night.
Your street, almost every house on Sunset lights up. It's beautiful.
It is, it really is stunning from going down. It's like a plane runway though. Actually, it's gotta be careful when that comes through, but it is, it's absolutely stunning and it really is a show. And now our neighbors were ramping it up a little bit with some holiday cheer with each other, and it is bringing us together.
Oh, that's nice.
So thank you for that. And I'll open up to the other just comment I wanted to make in seeing some of the members with you tonight. A lot of these are distinguished women I have met through other groups I've been involved in. And Ms. Borstein was one of the first, I think, that I met probably 15 years ago as a teacher here at the high school as the head of EMAC. So you're really drawing from some wonderful ladies. So it's clear why the organization is such a success. Any other questions or comments from the council? Council?
I just want to thank you, all of you, for the members that are here and not here, for your service to our community and really the longstanding legacy of the Women's Club. I also loved how it was highlighted in the new movie about the foundation,
Yes.
the founding of the Verona Public Library. To go back 130 years is really extraordinary. And the General Federation Women's Club has a tremendous history here in New Jersey, including saving the Palisades from development, which is one of the legacies of the Women's Club in New Jersey. And I'm a proud member, former member of the Junior Women's Club, and participated in many Women's Club Federation events regionally. So I salute all of you. And I also want to just highlight
the tremendous work you're doing with the juniorettes, which is a community service opportunity from middle school through high school. First, bringing that entire age group together is so important, but also instilling these values of service. And as a parent, there are some opportunities to pass that along with our youth. You're one of those core opportunities for young women in our community. And I love their social media account, and I love your social media account. And I love seeing the projects they're working on. And as a former junior, seeing my friends' children, their daughters now participate and passing on that generational service is really tremendous. So I just want to thank you all again, and I look forward to Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It may sound repetitive, but it's definitely deserved. Thank you for all your volunteer hours that you spend giving to Verona. I mean, after 130 years, I can't imagine how many hours that would be. But thank you, and just a note of the share your light night. I know one of our neighbors kind of stole your idea for Christmas Eve, and they lined the street with the bag. So it was Santa's sleigh ride, airport runway for Santa. So, and I see that night all the time, and it reminds me of the share your night light.
Yes.
It's a beautiful idea, and it's something that's very nice for this town. Thank you all.
Councilwoman?
I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming this evening. I think your organization is outstanding, and 130 years of history is truly a testament to the organization's dedication to this community. The amazing things that you do for our youth and just for the community at large, like we're identifying the different organizations that you contribute to. It just highlights the amazing power of women when they get together and organize. And so I just really want to thank all of you, and I'm really looking forward to Saturday as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll just say thank you for all of your service to this community. People wonder why, we always try and figure out why Verona is so special to so many people. And we look and see we have these wonderful service organizations that give people the opportunity to give back and to get to know their neighbors. And it's just a wonderful testament to what you do to the community. It's such a long history of service. So thank you very much for everything you do. Congratulations.
You're welcome.
All right, now we have a proclamation. You're free to sit at this point. Thank you. And we'll do our proclamation. And anybody here, please come up. We'll take a nice photograph. Proclamation reads, whereas the Women's Club founded as a non-political, non-sectarian, non-commercial service organization to demonstrate fellowship, social intellectual growth, and cooperation working out the vital problems of the day. And whereas the Women's Club of Verona is a member of the New Jersey State Federation of Women's Clubs and the General Federation of Women's Clubs, which is the oldest and largest women's organization in the world. And whereas founded as the Isabella Literary Society in 1893, now the Women's Club of Verona was instrumental in the founding of the Verona Public Library in the 1890s. And whereas their efforts have focused on our community by awarding scholarships to high school graduates in recognition of the students' involvement in community service. And whereas the Women's Club of Verona has sponsored 2 girls to the Girls Career Institute residential program at Douglas College, really supports the Verona Public Library, the Verona Children's Fund, the Verona Rescue Squad and Fire Department, the Verona Foundation for Educational Excellence, and many other local, national, and international programs, coordinate a townwide garage sale each October. And whereas on Saturday, December 9th, 2023, the Women's Club will hold the 15th annual Share Your Light Night, a fundraising event originating in Mexico that is now a worldwide event. And whereas Verona residents purchase luminary kits from the Verona Women's Club to display in their front yards, along curbs, or in driveways, creating a ribbon of light symbolizing neighborhood unity, with luminaries glowing to form a ribbon of light. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Christopher Tamboro, Mayor of the Township of Verona, do hereby recognize the Verona Women's Club and thank them for their service and wish them continued success as they celebrate their 130th anniversary this year as a charter member of the General Federation of Women's Clubs. Witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the Township of Verona, New Jersey, to be affixed on this 4th day of December in the year 2023. And if you would like to join us up here, If you want, you can come right in here. We'll get our little Verona thing in the background. What's on the line?
Yeah, come in.
I actually feel quite tall right now. Really something up here. That's everything. There you go. We'll get the. Okay. How's that?
That's good. And then. Many. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Every numbers, yeah, there's a. So now. You said 1 o'clock?
Yeah, if you were, yeah, no, yes, yes, okay, perfect. You're not into this, so. Let's go for allocation. Oh, we have only one. Oh, yeah, that's not true. Some. Reference what?
One final item on mayor's report. It was listed on the addendum, but I will. Because the mayor's report doesn't have to technically be an addendum. We have 2 appointments to the mental commission this evening. The first is we had a vacancy in a regular member, so we'll be moving up Berdahl Ternasioglu to the regular member position, and Adam Bolger will be the alternate 1 position. Those are mayor's appointments. There's no need for the action. Okay. Thank you for your service. Berdal's continuing service, and Adam for stepping up to help the commission. I spoke to him this past week and I was very excited to get ready, and I think some of his skill set will be phenomenal to helping the commission as well. All right. Next up, Mr. Diarco, the township manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 1, ordinances. January, the department heads will be looking at the town codes again, recommending ordinances that should be amended, and new ordinances that are pertinent to our operations. I can tell you that the various teams and the various departments are doing enormously well. I received the first compliment on the new zoning office today. That took 2 years. They're doing great. It's a terrific team that's in there. I think you'll see a lot of progress coming out of there. I am invigorating the West Essex manager meetings again so that we can discuss more into local service sharing. That'll be starting up again in January, which includes Cedar Grove for the fire prevention, which is that manager that's coming up again in January. So we may be concluding it. I'll be at the Recreation Commission meeting tomorrow night. 1, because of the restructuring ordinance that you put in place, establishing the 2 divisions, and briefing the commission on those appointments and moving forward with the placement and recreation program supervisor, which may include ADA abilities. If so, if not, then we'll be looking for another part-time candidate. Kevin has a very comprehensive list of all the projects that are underway. So he'll be reviewing all those projects. I did get inquiries on the traffic light on Compton and Claremont. That is still moving. It is a private project, but there is a lot of inquiries, and that was on our deck before I came here. So I monitored that. December 18th, you have your public safety complex presentation by the chiefs will be here. With the architect will be doing a full presentation for you. That project has been submitted to the Essex County Improvement Authority also. and went through their agenda, and that's down at the state now. Everett Field, comments came in from the resident, I met with the resident and the engineer, relative to his concerns about drainage and slopes, et cetera. We have the report from the Environmental Commission. We have the report from the Rec Commission. We'll be discussing all the reports. And they'll be going to the engineer that designed it, so that we come back to you with those composite recommendations.
I haven't seen the recognition. Can you have that?
They're meeting tomorrow. There's a subcommittee report, so the actual committee has not voted on that report yet.
Thank you, Chair.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
May I just add an additional comment? The Shade Tree Commission may also have a analysis and report. Their meeting next Monday. But they have signaled that they will be weighing in as well. Thank you.
We did send an invitation to Steve for an update on his 501c3. Come January, they'll set up their bank accounts. But he's basically finished with setting it up. And the 501c3 will be operating in January, according to what Steve had advised me. We'll try and get him in for the next meeting. The interlocal services agreement being drafted with the Board of Ed and the services we provide, the services they have provided, and we'll get that finished for you to look at in December or January. So we send it over to the Board of Ed. Board of Health was here. They are providing an annual report, just like any of your departments, and your meeting in April will cover their annual report. Clerk has brought up on a number of occasions, the mid-year election discussion, which is always a budget item that costs the town anywhere between 40 and 50,000 to have that mid-year election. Brian did research on what needs to be done, and he can brief the council. And it's a policy decision on the part of the governing body as to what you would like us to do. I'll pass the football to Brian, and he can brief you on what procedures would have to take place.
I can do it in 3 words. It's an ordinance.
Yep.
So you simply pass an ordinance. Actually, it used to be complicated. They changed the law. I think it was 2011. So that was great. So you simply pass an ordinance, and then that will take effect. So we have time to do that because your next election is 25. Next year is an off-year election for Verona.
Does it just automatically extend all of our terms?
Yes, all your terms are extended then till the November date.
Till the January 1st.
Well, January 1st, yeah, November election, January. Yeah.
The former government isn't affected, it's just the election.
Yeah, this is just for changing the date of the election. It doesn't change. It doesn't make you partisan. It doesn't change the form of government. It does nothing else.
Good. Thank you. Sure.
We do have another application into CDBG for your playground at the community center, which would be for these excess funding that they have at the end of the years that they have to dispose of. Since we're shovel ready and we've been out to bid and accepted the bids that are in, you're in a very good position for potentially getting additional funding for that playground, which should conclude that project. And that's all I have for you. Unless you have any questions of me, I'll turn it over to Kevin, who can go through all the town projects that we're working on.
There's one follow-up for you, Mr. York, from the last meeting. The Joint Flood Control Board.
Yeah. Slowly moving.
I know Cedar Grove is anxious to get that started, as I think we are. But yeah.
Yeah, they're taking yes.
On the schedule, that would certainly. Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, thank you. The first item on my report is the sewer rate. We had a working draft of rate study final. Will be sent to
working with you. Plan.
Mr. Sullivan, the public is having a hard time hearing you. If we can,
I mean,
it might be, yeah, that might be better.
I mean, like,
there's a new mic. There's good audio for everyone prior to that point, but you might need to get a second one.
Yeah, it'd be helpful to have one running maybe over time so we can hear both the clerk and
Sure.
you as well.
Should I repeat or just pick up where I
No,
left?
I think you can continue.
Okay. Lastly, regarding wastewater treatment plant, the township is still assessing a variety of operational contracts with different vendors as part of our assessment of the entire system, and that is still underway. Moving on, the third item is the residential escrow fees. The township, the construction official, Boswell, our new zoning officer, and our new planning board zoning board secretary met on November 28th. We're continuing discussions on cleaning up the procedures of applications that come through construction and zoning. And we will have a new procedure with checklists and that clearly delineate and communicate to applicants what their expectations should be when they submit an application through those two departments. That should be implemented by January 1st. There is an ongoing review of the fees that are currently being analyzed. We're surveying surrounding towns, and we'll come with a recommendation on what those fee recommendations will be in early 2024. Moving on to the PFAS projects, Lynn Drive and Fairview Avenue Wells. We'll be collecting or accepting bids for the Lynn Drive project on December 8th. The town will close on that construction loan from the iBank. After that, it'll be early January that we close on that. We can expect the word of contract. It could be conditional on that loan closing from the town council in our first meeting in January. At that point, we'll get final determination from the iBank on principal forgiveness for that project. Those figures will also be provided to New Gen as part of the finalization of their rate study, so they know how to account for the debt associated with that portion of the project. Continuing the Fairview Avenue well, we recently received the DEP, Bureau of Water System Engineering permit. The project still awaits authorization to advertise from the iBank. So we currently have bid documents at 95% complete, but we remain subject to an authorization to advertise from the iBank. Bids are targeted for early to mid 2024, hopefully with an award in this early summer of 2024. And again, those will work in those estimated debt figures with our rate study as well. And then lastly, there was a good faith estimate settlement payment circulated to the council for a class action settlement. That is another figure that's a miscellaneous revenue that the utility can anticipate. And it's again, one more figure that will be compiling in with that rate study for water and sewer. Moving on to the next item is the stormwater items. Administration, Boswell, and the Environmental Commission Chair met on November 30th. We sorted out most of the final details of our stormwater control ordinance. We'll come with a final recommendation in early 2024. Adoption is required by July 17th, 2024. So we still have plenty of time to finalize those last few details, but we made a lot of good progress on that November 30th phone call. In the same vein, the salt storage ordinance, which had been discussed previously, is on tonight's agenda for introduction. That has a similar timeline. Its adoption is required by July 1st of 2024. There's additional updates for the pollution prevention plan, municipal stormwater management plan. As we continue to progress through some of those other items, we're now going to be shifting focus to making sure that all of those documents are updated and keeping us in good standing with our municipal stormwater permits. And then lastly, we did hear back from the DEP's Office of Climate Resiliency. We are looking to schedule a meeting. I believe we scheduled it for mid-January to discuss climate resiliency issues and flooding impacts in Verona. we'll have more to report after we have that meeting with the DP's Office of Climate Resiliency. And then, I'm sorry, last item on stormwater is regarding the Peckman River. There was a design and permit application submitted to the state that is currently through in its review period and public comment period. We anticipate hopefully getting permits for that project in early 2024. There's usually very specific restrictions on timing of year when construction can occur. So once we do have the permits and we know exactly what those conditions of permit are, we can then schedule final design and bidding and report on the construction schedule. Regarding parking meter rates, we're pulling the last few pieces of information. We are looking at the number. We have a full analysis on number of meters that are broken, lost revenues as a result of broken meters. We're looking at overnight parking permits. I'm compiling all that information. I'll have a recommendation on the parking permits finalized for our January meetings. There's a number of items on energy supply to our municipal accounts. We spent a lot of time reviewing the municipal accounts with NJSEM and with the idea of a reverse live auction. We're still gathering that information. It seems NJSEM might not be a good fit for us. They're currently in the middle of a contract, and accounts of Verona size wouldn't be able to fit into the existing terms of their contract. So we're still gathering more information on that. We were hoping to have some information, have a little bit more of a detailed discussion regarding the reverse live auction potential, but we're not ready to discuss that at tonight's meeting. We also investigated the direct install program offered by PSE&G. Program's been utilized by the township a number of times over the past several years. We reviewed it with Buildings and Grounds, and there's currently no facility needs identified by Buildings and Grounds that would fit into the incentives offered through that program at this point. So at this point, we're going to just reinvestigate the direct install program at a future year, but we did investigate to see if it was a fit for us this year, which it is not. We also followed up with the Sustainable Energy Alliance program, which offers residents cleaner and cheaper energy options through the power of aggregated community energy planning. The program is currently in between bids. They did revert all of the contracts for all of the residents in all the towns that were previously in that program back to the supplier. It's just a result of where the market is. PSE&G rates were better than what could be obtained on the market. However, I've heard that the program intends to solicit bids in early 2024. There's an expectation and a hope that the market is shifting. So there may be a potential to provide cheaper and cleaner energy sources for Verona residents at some point in 2024, depending on that bid. We did collect bids on the community center playground. The apparent low bidder is Sano Giordano. It's in the amount of $705,003. There was a review and a recommendation both from the township engineer and there was a legal review by the township attorney. Due to the timing of some pending grants that we're hoping, well, we are receiving, but hopefully more grants that we're receiving from CDBG, we're going to be timing up the award of that. We're hoping we'd be able to make an award of contract at the December 18th meeting. Because of the timing of the CDBG awards, we may need to push that award into January, but nonetheless, there is the expectation that we will be making an award of contract at our January meeting. And then the last item on our report is a number of grant programs and applications. There are a number of applications that we are working with our grant writers. Most recently, we submitted a grant application for electric vehicles and electric vehicle charging stations. We're currently working with our grant writer to submit another application for BCA firefighter grant. There's a resolution on the agenda tonight in association with that. And we'll continue to work with our grant writer. We have a few more applications that are due towards the end of this year and early 2024 that we'll be working with them on.
Very much. Any questions from Mr. Sullivan? Councilman Holland.
Regarding your energy supply to municipal accounts, are bills predominantly electric or gas, or is it about 50-50?
I think the greater demand is on electricity.
Mhm.
Our gas bills are still currently we have one more year remaining on the existing supply contract.
Mhm.
So the exercise we've been performing is focused on the electricity.
Yeah.
The gas counts are still under contract. Electricity, we're trying to figure out if there's a cheaper alternative than the PSE&G supply tariff, and that's what the focus has been at this point.
I see that, and so we're focusing just on the commodity, right? So the alternative suppliers are only for the actual electrons, whereas you would still have to be paying the PSE&G bill for the service. What I'm noticing is that we're not considering any other form of generation or remote net metering, where your generation would actually offset like your electric usage, including the transmission and distribution charges.
Well, I did have a discussion with PSE&G.
So PSE&G does not necessarily want to advocate for remote net metering or a net metering program because that is not their business model though. So I do appreciate that they're going to push you toward their existing programs, but I do think we might need to look beyond PSE&G. And I'm sorry to have interrupted you, but you'd said that to me at the last meeting too about speaking to PSE&G. And I think we might need to look elsewhere because the goal is to then be like really mitigating those PSE&G bills and realizing a savings for the municipality. So we might need to look elsewhere.
Understood.
I have a question. Just one thing, I think for either one of you, since we a lot of parking traditionally around this time in the past, there's been some, we've covered meters.
December,
Yeah, it is. So we're into December.
we were ready for December 1st to be covered. But they're
Sixth.
not-
They're not December 6th.
The sixth, well,
December 6th.
December sixth, we decided on.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
I said
Thank you.
first, they did 6.
That answered the question. Okay, thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I'm sorry, Councilman.
Oh, I have a question or a comment more further.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great. The presentation on the public safety building is so important on December 18th. And again, I do wish that was in January, but that recommendation was not taken up by this governing body. But regardless, we have to be able, technology wise, to broadcast that presentation and it has to be recorded crystal clear. So, I mean, right now our displays are not even on. So I just asked the administration the last time we had a presentation, it did not go well. We really need this to be projected. So I just want to stress that.
If I may,
Sure.
we've had a pre-meeting already, that exact same subject. The architect, Frank, will be here a week before, running everything through our systems to make sure it's gonna work for the public and whatever, and we will be recording it, so it will be ample access by the public. But yeah, we already put those in motion.
Okay, and then the council will get all the presentations in advance so that we can see it on our laptops so that we can magnify it, because it is again very hard for us to see.
Kevin and I have that one covered. We had them in, we had all the chiefs in, and the architect went through some of the dry run, but there is gonna be a full dry run the week before.
Okay,
Here. Make sure everything works,
thank you.
and then I'll go to church and.
Any other comments from Sheriff? Mr. Sullivan, thank you for your comprehensive reports. On to council member reports, Deputy Mayor McAvoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll start off by crossing off my meter cover question that someone texted me about today. First, I hope everybody had a Thanksgiving. I did the week before attend the League of Municipalities, as did all of us, and attended several classes that pertain to the groups that I am liaison to. So I'll be bringing some of that information back to them and several others. I found this year most of the classes were very informative. I picked the right ones this year. Unfortunately, I did bring back something else, which was a sickness that kept me in bed for 3 or 4 days. So I couldn't attend the interfaith ceremony, but I heard it went very well. I was, first time I've ever missed it, so I apologize for that. I will say, I did attend this weekend the Fair and Square. I was actually, manning the Chamber of Commerce booth, and from 12 o'clock to 4:30. It was just busy. Every booth was busy. The booth next to us had a constant line of people. As you said, Mayor, it was definitely the most attended Fair in the Square I think we've had in all these years. Obviously, weather plays a big part, and I think everybody was very happy with the turnout. And of course, the line of thank yous goes out. Buildings and Grounds, they do so much. Rescue Squad, Police Department, Fire Department, most of all, for getting Santa here safe and sound. But I have to really hats off to Elise Northrow for the work she did. She was running around all day. And then even afterwards, our Buildings and Grounds and our Public Works people cleaning up. I came back here this morning and you would never guess there. I don't know how many people are in this town square. I'd say 1,000 plus, but whatever. It doesn't even look like anything went on Saturday. It is spotless. And they were here today just picking up chairs and tables and stuff just to finalize stuff. But they did a tremendous job. So hats off to them. And lastly, I just want to, at the end of this week starts Hanukkah. So I wouldn't want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah and remind everybody that next Monday night at 7 o'clock, we have the menorah lighting out here in front of Town Square. And that is all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilman Roman.
No, thank you. Just very similar comments to my colleagues. Found the league to be a very informative seminar this year and went to a lot of topics that were very relevant to Verona. Thank you for the Interfaith Thanksgiving service. I was able to attend that. That was a very touching ceremony, and congratulations to the mayor on his comments there, which were very well drafted. And then also, again, big congratulations to the entire township on Fair and Square. I think it was the best one we've had ever since I've been going to these in terms of attendance. And we really lucked out with the weather. So thank you to everyone that put that together. And that's all I have to see.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. I too attended the Interfaith Thanksgiving service and Fair in the Square. Both were really fantastic and excellent events. And I want to thank our volunteers and our staff for making those a reality. I too went to the League of Municipalities. I attended seminars on affordable housing, cannabis, climate change, energy planning, community engagement, and shade trees. I attended both formal and informal conversations on the challenges women face serving in local government. And of course, I went to the state leadership seminar, which is always a highlight. Though I do have to admit this year, I left feeling very frustrated after listening to our state leaders. I just feel like there was a lack of recognition of some of the challenges that we are facing in local government. It was a great league, and I'm excited to work with my colleagues, the administration, and our volunteer committees to implement some of these great ideas. As I do every year, I spent my small business Saturday shopping in Verona, promoting small businesses through my social media accounts and touching base with small business owners. Verona residents have repeatedly told us as elected leaders that they want a thriving downtown. And I'm thrilled to do my part by highlighting the diverse retail environment that we have. I encourage all residents this holiday season to visit our many retail establishments and to shop local. The Multicultural Inclusion and Accessibility Advisory Committee had a meeting, and for the first time, Mr. Dave Robotham joined us, which was excellent. The Verona Public School Superintendent was also in attendance, and she gave us a very robust update on some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that the Verona schools are now considering and implementing, including Inclusive Schools Week. The committee is working on planning events for the first quarter of 2024, and they played a role in helping to facilitate Pictures with Santa for children who are neurodiverse and have sensitivity issues. And they, before Fair in the Square started, those pictures took place in the library in a friendly sensory environment. And what I heard from the volunteers is just how appreciative the parents were to have this opportunity. And just to recap, this was an idea that a resident had provided to me, that I had provided to Steve Neal, who implemented it, and it is become a really important part of our Fair in the Square experience. Finally, the committee did send their accessibility analysis to the entire council. If any council members have feedback, you are encouraged to send your feedback directly to the committee. And on Monday, the Shade Tree Commission will be meeting at 5 p.m. at the Verona Community Center. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Holland.
Thank you. I too attended the League of Municipalities and various sessions there, including but not limited to some DEP sessions that actually are applicable to the manager's report this evening. So that was actually very much appreciated. I also attended Fair in the Square this past weekend, and I just have to comment, as my colleagues have as well, about like the tremendous attendance there. The only point I think of feedback where we could maybe improve is to be miking some of our a cappella singers a little bit better, because when we do have crowds, they're hard to hear. However, I was able to enjoy my daughter's middle school band performance and able to patronize several of the booths that were there. So it was glad to see such amazing turnout. November was Safe Homes Month for VMAC, who were also at Fair in the Square. And I just want to point out like the important work that VMAC does. They've already updated their calendar for 2024 family nights as well as into 2025. And I believe our intent to fund will have to be on an upcoming agenda for this governing body. So hopefully that continues. We also have a Recreation Advisory Committee meeting tomorrow night. So they have not met yet, but the subcommittees that were organized at the last meeting have produced their work product for the larger committee's consideration. So my understanding is that those will be considered and voted upon tomorrow evening. And then at that point, hopefully the Recreation Advisory Committee's actual recommendations, so of the body, would be coming to this governing body. We do not yet have an agenda yet for the public's view, but my understanding is that that is how that will be addressed tomorrow night. Last but not least, and I do want to compliment the administration because it's actually on the Verona homepage. We are in the winter termination period. So if there are residents that have issues paying their utility bills, I urge you to make outreach because there are services available to help. So you don't have to be without electric, gas, or water during this time period. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. This concludes the council member reports. At this time, as it's become our custom, I'm going to, if there's no objections, call for public comment on any item. Madam Clerk, would you please read the local public participation statements?
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on any matter, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button on your monitor. If you're dialing in by phone, press *9. If you're attending in person, please push the lectern. Once you're recognized, clearly state only your name and township of residence for the record. You're not required to provide your street address. However, if you do, please note these meetings will be posted on the township's YouTube channel and addresses will not be redacted for any purpose. You'll have 4 minutes to address the council. There'll be no cross dialogue during this public portion, and after everyone wishing to speak has been heard, the council may address your comments and/or questions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have Mr. Jacobs with an electronic hand raised on Zoom.
Hi, good evening. This is Josh Jacobs, Verona resident. I am speaking on behalf of over 400 residents who recently signed a petition for enhanced traffic and pedestrian safety on Bloomfield Avenue between Park Avenue and Lakeside. This is a downhill slope where vehicle traffic regularly exceeds 45 miles an hour. This is a 25-mile-an-hour zone. We're seeking a crosswalk and a traffic light at the entrance to Verona Park. The county has been ignoring years of requests from residents and dozens of reports of traffic and pedestrian injuries and fatalities on this stretch of road. I'm asking the Township Council to take an emergency action vote to approve a warrant study for this stretch of road on Bloomfield Avenue so we can start to make some progress towards a safer downtown. Residents do not want to hear more excuses from county executives with constant rumors of future traffic studies that never happen. We need our local government to take immediate action. We contribute what, $10-15 million a year in revenue to the county. We don't need more tennis courts or repaved tennis courts or more pandas at the zoo. Like, we need a safe downtown. Having a safe place for our kids to contribute towards a thriving downtown is extremely important. And I would like the council to work towards, action with the county on, I think that may start with approving a warrant study for this stretch of road. Thank you very much.
Mr. Jacobs. Then we have Kevin's iPad.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, hi, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to just make a comment regarding the possibility of moving the election to November. I want to compliment the council for directing the attorney to get into the specifics of that. I think it's a long overdue process, and as he pointed out, it's an excellent time since there are no local elections next year, really to consider moving the May election to November. The only price is just extending the terms of some of the current council members, and I don't think most of us would have any objection to that. Sort of as a follow-up to that, after the last election, many people were confused about how we select the mayor in this town. Having served on the council for 8 years, I've had numerous questions where most of the public felt that the top vote getter automatically got to be the mayor, which obviously is not the case. And I want to emphasize this is no reflection on the current body, but it might also be the opportunity, since we don't have an election next year, for our attorney to look into the possibility of the direct election of the mayor without changing the form of government. I believe there are other towns that have a nonpartisan Faulkner government where the mayor is directly elected. I just think it ends confusion on the part of the public, who usually expect a top vote getter automatically become the mayor. This has not been the case in Verona for quite some time. Sometimes it works out that way, sometimes it doesn't. So I just would encourage you to do some additional research in that area. And maybe at some point next year, our attorney could give us a report on what that might entail. Thank you very much. And have a pleasant holiday season.
Mr. Ryan? Mr. Riley?
Yes, Chris Riley. I live in Verona. Following up on some things relative to the Sunset development. I know it was approved at the planning board back in September. And since that time, I think there were a couple of deliverables that were coming out of that meeting that were coming back to this council. One was a developers agreement. And I wanted to get an update on where that is and whether the public is going to have an opportunity to comment on that. And the second thing is, I did provide some comments at the planning board meeting relative to traffic. And I know the two council members who were at the planning board that night were understanding, I guess that's a good word to use, of my comments. And I know one of the suggestions I made was to reach out to the county to see about getting a turning signal light on the corner of Sunset and Mount Prospect. And I wanted to know if there's been any movement. I know the county's probably got a queue of work, longer than I don't know what, but I know that it would behoove us to get on the queue, and if that's going to take a year, 2 years, whatever, at least get started. I know the development is probably quite a bit a ways in terms of when actually people will move in and when when the traffic will start from the 200 people that are going to move in there. But I don't know when the construction is going to start, and I think the traffic is going to really be bad once the construction starts, and you have a lot of construction activity on the corner of Bloomfield and Sunset. I heard the township manager tonight mention something about a traffic light on Claremont and Route 23, I believe it was, and some interest in that. And I would just say, until you really figure out everything around that intersection, and not only just the intersection at Bloomfield and Prospect and Route 23, but also some of the other streets where when the traffic backs up, all the traffic goes into on Sunset, both on the side of Sunset relative to, I'm not sure direction wise, but the one that heads towards Bloomfield Avenue, but also the direction on Sunset towards the golf course. I know from speaking to people on both sides that there's a lot of traffic that just cuts through there and just tries to go with apps, Waze or whatever it is that's directing them automatically. So again, just appreciate an update. Thank you.
Mr. Riley, any other public comments? Okay, this time I'm going to close public comment. I'll address Mr. Jacobs' comments about the traffic. Josh, I agree with you that is a problem there. I've had conversations, kind of liaison, about having a town hall meeting related to traffic issues. The county denied that request. So I believe that at this point, Mr. Diarco has had some success with working with the engineer and the county executive. So I would suggest that Mr. Diarco attempt those conversations first, and perhaps can use the goodwill that we have developed there to move forward. But I agree, certainly that is an issue. The one other piece as far as pedestrian safety, in the meantime, I really do encourage residents and visitors to use the existing crosswalks at Brook Avenue and at Bloomfield Avenue, at Bloomfield and Lakeside. Though they are inconvenient for some places depending on where you go. But one of the reasons I believe the county won't do more as far as a light is that they're too close to other signals already. So while I agree with you that it would be helpful to have another item there, as somebody who's lived on both sides of Bloomfield Avenue and that on the east side of town, somebody who walks the dog frequently in that area as well, has treated several people hit by cars. I understand the necessity of doing something here. Well, I could that Mr. Jarko can, if you don't object.
I will continue to do that, Mayor.
Okay. And then perhaps if we don't get anywhere, those unofficial conversations, then we talk about how to take some official action to move forward. And I think in some of these circumstances, we hear that things have happened or not happened. It would be nice to get to the bottom of it, see exactly where we are, and then work with our engineers and so on to do that. But once again, it is a county road, as you mentioned, and we are largely at the mercy of the county on many of these items. But I agree with you in that we do not nearly get from our county tax contribution what we provide into it. And I would like to see more of that for sure. And on Mr. Ryan's piece, I appreciate your comments on those items. I will certainly be interested to see first, before making any decisions, why the specific breakdowns on the cost of the elections, they have gone up significantly. So I'd like to see that before we move forward. And as far as the I'll leave that at that for the moment. And then Mr. Riley, concerned Mr. Aloya, Mr. Diarco, do you have any specific information on those, where we are with those documents? Really, Sunset Avenue.
Yeah, I do not. That's something we'll have to get back to you on, and so we get back to him. If there's anything public record, we'll provide it to him.
Thank you. Okay. Any other?
I also asked about the traffic too.
Okay. On that end as well, I think the same items apply as that goes. Once again, it has to be added to any traffic related pieces. Mount Prospect is a county road. Sunset is a local road. I think that goes once again with Mr. Diarco's conversation. We have had other members of the public expressed concerns about that same stretch of road on Mount Prospect. And as you know, I live on Sunset Avenue and have had the same concerns. And with news that the Target will be going in West Orange where the current Kmart is, I think that will certainly be exacerbated. So if we can add that to Mr. Giarco's manager to-do list, that would be helpful as well. Any other comments on the public comments? Okay, seeing none. We'll be moving on to our adoption on ordinances. So we have one item on second reading. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of ordinance number 2023-46 into the record?
This to amend chapter A 565-1, schedule of fees of the code of the Township of Verona to amend basic water consumption rates.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do we hear a motion?
So moved.
The motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by the Deputy Mayor. At this time, I will open now for public comment and hearing on ordinance number 2023-46 only. The same public comment statement applies. It's just that the comment is limited to this ordinance. Hearing none, I'm going to close public comment. Any council discussion?
Just a quick comment on this. We added the expiration date to the water surcharge in case someone didn't look at it this afternoon and looked at it yesterday. So the water does expire December 31st, 2024. And I want to note that we had to do something on this year because that surcharge would have expired if we just let it go. And it hit December 31st, 2023.
Thank you. Councilwoman Holland.
I just want to continue my objection to this ordinance. I think it's important to do utility rate making properly. At the time of its initial adoption, I voiced objections. At that time, I feel that the surcharge was disingenuous in that it was an effort to obfuscate the actual rate increase that was being recommended by the former administration, not Mr. Giarco or Mr. O'Sullivan, but our former administration. It was hastily presented to the council and it wasn't based on sound rate making policies. I do want to acknowledge that the administration is, as was documented in Mr. O'Sullivan's report, working with New Gen Strategies to do a comprehensive rate study that would inform future rate making purposes. And I think that is the appropriate path forward. But unfortunately, we are in a position where we are continuing and needing to, make tweaks to a previously flawed ordinance. And I don't want to be a part of it. So I will be voting no on this ordinance.
Thank you. I have commented myself on this before, but I do want to respond to the councilwoman's comments. I think some language was used here that suggested that the council is trying to hide or do something disingenuous with respect to the original ordinance, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. And I take exception as somebody who voted on this about any suggestion as such. This originally went into place when we were forced, because of new regulations on the state level, to purchase all of our water from Passaic Valley Water Commission. And we do not set the rates of the Passaic Valley Water Commission. Unfortunately, we are very much at their whim as far as what the rates are, and the utility has to pay them back for that water. That was a conservative increase to the rate to make up for, and it was based on knowing what Passaic Valley was charging on their rate, and that's where that amount came from. And it was certainly actually did not cover all of the Passaic Valley was charging, and it was included originally as a temporary surcharge because it was just that it was temporary until we could get our wells back online. I think it would be a mistake to not continue this because we are still buying water from the Passaic Valley Water Commission, and it's still costing our utility and our ratepayers a significant amount of money. And if we did not renew this at this point, whatever we called it or not, if we did not renew it now, the utility would go deeper into the red, which would only result in having to have higher rates in the future and disproportionately larger increases that would really shock the pockets of ratepayers. So that is why I will be voting yes. And once again, it has been extended as a temporary surcharge. Now, assuming that the rate study gives us all the information we need, and that is in progress, this temporary surcharge will only last really until we have a new rate suggested by the rate study. So this is really a couple month thing, but there was never any pulling of the wool over the eyes of any ratepayer or taxpayer, and this was done with full transparency through the regular ordinance adoption process with limited public comment or anybody really expressing concern that it was not being done in an appropriate way, either ethically or legally. And so I will be voting yes. Is there any other council discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Holland,
No.
Councilwoman McGrath,
No.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor, ordinance 2023-46 passes 3-2 and will be published according to law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance on first reading. Would you please read the title of ordinance H1 into the record?
Reading chapter 386 of the Code of the Township entitled Privately Owned Salt Storage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any council discussion on this item? Note, this is first reading. We did have discussion at our last meeting. Okay, hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, sorry. Is there a motion on this?
So moved.
I'll second it. Second. Thank you. The motion is by the Councilman McGrath. The second is by Councilman Coleman. Is there any discussion? No. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
Mayor, H1 will be numbered 2023-47, will be published according to law. Public hearing will be held on December 18th.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is another ordinance on first reading marked as H2. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title of this ordinance into the record?
An ordinance implementing a voter-approved increase to the Verona Open Space Recreation Farmland and Historic Preservation Trust Fund by amending Chapter 6-2 of the Township Code.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would somebody please move the ordinance? The motion is made by the Deputy Mayor.
Seconded.
The second is by Councilman Roman. Is there any council discussion on this item? For the public edification, this is to codify what we put out to referendum to the voter to increase the open space trust fund. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamburo.
Yes.
H2 will be numbered 2023-48. It will be published according to law. Public hearing will be held on December 18th.
All right. We are moving on to the consent agenda. This evening, we have 3 sets of minutes on the consent agenda. And we have several proposed resolutions, including budget transfers, authorizing the 2023 electronic tax sale, approving fees associated with doing the tax sale, accepting our portion of the National Opioid Grant and settlement, accepting the NJDCA 2023 American Rescue Plan Firefighters Grant, and second ordinance related to that, and then approving the final change order and contract closeout for the 2023 pool renovations related to the splash pad, authorizing a continued contract with Lawsoft Incorporated for our police record software, and authorizing the application of the firefighters grant in New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, and further resolution for executive session. Would somebody please move the consent agenda?
So
Motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by the Deputy Mayor. This time I'll open the meeting for public comment on the consent agenda only. Same public comment statement applies. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment on the consent agenda as any council discussion. Councilwoman McGrath.
Thank you. First, I just want to note that, because I did not attend, I will be abstaining from voting on the minutes, for the emergency meeting on Friday, October the 20th. I do have a question for Mr. Diarco about the closeout to the pool, contract, to the pool project. I did send you an email earlier today, but I didn't get a response. I'm just going to reiterate my question. We did have some issues, with getting the pool splash pad open, that I believe was due to a contractor error. And it required overtime for our staff, the opening of the week, opening weekend. So I just wanted to understand financially if that was worked out in this closeout, or was that all taken care of?
I believe it was, Chuck is here. We did have some offsets on both sides. It balanced out.
Okay. I love the detail we got on the Ann Cypress project. And so, I was asking if we could on further contracts, see all that line item detail. And I would have loved on this to have seen those offsets specifically, if there's some performance issues and how it's all adjusted for future projects. So
I think in the future, all of your projects, this was a holdover project.
it was.
In the future, all of your projects will be laid out the same way.
Okay.
So you'll have full information that you do need.
Right. It's helpful to understand too when things go up and down and how things change over the course of the project.
And that's the standard practice that you weren't getting past.
That is true. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments on the agenda? I'm going to separate the minutes I'm going to take J2 and remove that. At this point, we'll vote on that separately because it's just a little awkward to vote with an abstention on a particular item. So from a parliamentary standpoint, we'll put that on a different motion. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll on everything except J2?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor resolutions K1 and K11 will be numbered 197 through and including 207.
And thank you. Now I'll hear a motion on J2 to approve the October 20th emergency meeting minutes. So moved. Motion is made by Councilman Roman. Is there a second? Second is made by the Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? We've already had public comment on the consent agenda. So at this point, I will call the roll. Clerk?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, motion passes 4-0 with one recusal.
Sure, I don't, just for the record, the councilwoman was not recusing herself. She was just singing because she wasn't meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have one addendum tonight. That is the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over grant to insert these funds into the municipal budget, this is any questions on that item? I will hear a motion to approve what is marked as M2.
So moved.
Motion is made by Councilman McGrath. Is there a second? I'll second. The second was made by the Councilman Roman. I'm sorry, I heard Councilman first. Is there, actually, I will call for any public comment on resolution for M2 first. Same public comment statement applies, but we will be isolated to discussing M2. Being no public comment, I will close it. I will start the council discussion. I am pleased that the police department is participating in this. Driving under the influences continues to be, despite so many things that we can do preventive, like the proliferation of rideshare services, continues to be a problem that results in many tragic deaths and injuries and property damage in our community. So I'm thrilled that our police department is taking a proactive approach to this, and I encourage everybody to drive safely and make wise choices related to this. Any other council comments? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Holland,
Yes.
Councilwoman McGrath,
Yes.
Councilman Roman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McAvoy,
Yes.
Mayor Tamboro.
Yes.
Mayor, M2 will be numbered resolution 2023-208 passes 5-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now moving on to new and unfinished business. Is each one being signed?
No, H1 is not participating tonight. They'll actually come on the 18th, but that'll be a closed session to discuss
Okay.
what they're planning on coming for.
Okay, thank you. All right, I just have one item, as an update on our strategic planning piece. The Arco has a lot of what we did for strategic planning was discussing items with a significant capital cost. Mr. Arco is working with department heads and volunteer agencies to get their capital requests in. What I will be doing over the next couple of weeks is separating the non-monetary items from the monetary items so that we can start acting on some of the items that we discussed that might have opportunity costs like staff time and things like that, rather than any fiscal cost to the budget. And then we can take a look at those and prioritize those. And then we'll look at capital. Mr. Yark and I will be talking about a more specific format this week. But at this point, because we are having a lot of big ticket items, I would like to introduce what I've done in municipality where I served as department head, which was we have a capital special meeting that takes place on a secret day where we discuss the capital items rather than doing piecemeal. And I would want anybody who is requesting capital funding from the council to be present at the meeting for its entirety. The one thing that I learned, and I'm sorry to all the department heads in advance, but the one thing that I learned as the chief of EMS in Long Valley when I went before the township committee was we had the capital planning meetings, the budget meetings, was that listening to everybody else's presentations, it educated me more on what was being asked for and where my requests fell into more globally what was coming for the council and all of different money. And it actually allowed department heads to start to think of and actually self-prioritize and then come back to the council later. So Mr. Yark and I will discuss that in more detail and provide a recommendation to the council. This is we had a minute. Just thought I would share. That's where we're going on that item. Is there any other new or unfinished business? No. At this time, I will open for general public comment on any item anybody would like to speak to us about. Madam Clerk, the same public comment statement applies.
Do you want me to read it again though?
No.
Yeah.
Everybody now was here before.
It's open.
Being no public comments, I will close public comment. And at this point, we have a resolution to go into executive session. We'll be taking any official action during executive session.
Never during executive session, not after. No.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Our next meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight on the 18th of December. That's fine.